and I'll go ahead and get it started. And my name is Amanda Towne, and I started this meetup group a couple of years ago. And it's evolved over the years. I started it with a friend of mine. We were in a program together, and we wanted to talk with other people interested in Abraham Hicks teachings. So that's what it's primarily based on. And over the last 6 months or so, I've been bringing in more coaching tools, bringing in some of my own coaches that I've done programs under, like Gina Mallison and Liz Hayes, and talked about the processes that they use. And I'm going to start focusing more on how those processes can be used and how they can be used with the law of attraction or other teachings to really get you where you want to go. And I don't like to just talk about physical manifestation, because yes, that is what a lot of people come to law of attraction for, is the physical manifestation. But it's really about the feeling, because why you want anything is because of the way you think it'll make you feel. You think you want a lot of money because it's going to make you happy, or it's going to give you freedom. You want the relationship because it's going to make you loved. You might think it'll make you safe and secure, but it's really about the emotion that you want to feel. And so it's really about manifesting those emotions. And it's just about feeling good and feeling better. And that's what I love about this work, is that I feel so different than I did before I started this journey. And I want to talk a little bit about my journey tonight as we jump in. So you have a little more of my background and know how I got to this place that I am now. And my journey really started with yoga way back, probably in 2005. I grew up in the Midwest, very traditional religion, family, everything. The town I grew up in was 800 people. So there was really no diversity there. And I started to do yoga in probably around 2005. And it really opened me up to being present with my breath, being present in my body, and different ways of looking at things through Eastern religion and philosophy. So that was the first little nugget planted in my space, a seed, I would say. And that seed just kept growing and growing. And I had friends that I found that introduced me to different things along the way. The Secret, of course, a lot of people, The Secret is one of their gateways into law of attraction and other spirituality. And Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. And so I dove into those, and I loved what they were saying. And I continued on this path. And really, what got me started even more in about 2017 was when I was going through some relationship issues. And I was working with the tarot card reader, about this relationship. What should I do? Yada, yada. And she said, you should go to YouTube and type in Abraham Hicks relationships. And I did, and I have never stopped listening. I could not get enough of it. And so I devoured it. It resonated with me. And the thing is, I'm a very analytical person. I'm an accountant and CPA by trade. And so I love to learn, and I like to look at things intellectually and figure it out. And looking back, I learned that very early. I think somewhat as is it a coping mechanism to use my mind, because I shut down my emotions very early in my life, and really, not that I didn't feel it all, but shut down really feeling my true emotions. And most people do that at some point in their life. And it's not like you have to go through abuse or trauma for that to happen. You can just have someone saying something to you, or, big brother's making fun of you, like, you're too sensitive, you're a crybaby. And so figuring out, oh, it's not okay for me to have these feelings. I need to hide these feelings. And over time, we do those things and we stuff down our feelings. We don't want to feel them. And so we over time, we numb ourselves. And then we might even pick up other habits of overworking. We might even use substances to dampen our emotions, just to what we think to make life easier, and to just kind of coast through life in this kind of numb state. And we're in that numb state. We're not really in tune with our emotions. So part of this whole process for me has been becoming in tune with my emotions again, and really allowing them and feeling them. And I found lots of other teachers along the way. I found meditation has been a big part of my path. I've done Joe Dispenza retreats and have had a lot of shifts through his work. But what I found personally doing his work is that it did create shifts for me, but it felt more slow and tedious. And it still wasn't getting me to those higher vibrations that I wanted to feel. And so I found different teachers. I found the work of Marissa Peer and doing rapid transformational therapy. And there was a lot of inner child work there and looking at the past. And then I found Nick Brew, who is a law of attraction teacher, but also teaches that along with the law of attraction, you still need to clear things. And he calls it clearing beliefs. And I truly believe in that. That's been a big part of my journey, is that I love the teaching of Abraham Hicks and I love everything that they talk about. But for me, there was always kind of a missing piece of, I believe in this, but what if I'm just not naturally that happy-go-lucky person, and I'm not getting to those states, and things aren't manifesting the way that I would like. So that kind of set me on the path of going down the road of some of these other things. And I worked under Nick for a while, and I love the work that he does, and his fiance, Anik. I love everything that they do. But for me, it was very a mental, intellectual process. And for me, that was something I needed to get out of my head, get out of that spinning mind loop, trying to figure it out. I needed something that I could get more in tune with my feelings and sensing. And along came Gina Mallison. And I've done Gina's program, doing calibrations or malabrations, as she calls them now. And it's really a sensing and feeling process of sensing and feeling your emotions in your body, and then going through the calibration process to release resistance. And I've also combined this with inner child and inner being work. And so it's like your inner being is up here at this vibration and your inner child is down here. And by doing a calibration and releasing resistance, you're calibrating your inner child up to this level of your inner being. And this is when you're in this receiving mode. This is when you're in alignment. And I've added on a process at the end too, to then speak to your inner being through you, to really be in that connection with your inner being, because you are the best receiver of that. We use all of these channels and things to give us information, but the best source is really you. You want to be able to connect with your inner being and be in tune with your emotions and use those emotions as your guidance. So that has been my journey along the way. And looking back, did I need all those steps? I don't know. But for me, that's what worked. And that's where I was. And that's the thing, realizing nothing has ever gone wrong. You are where you are, and that's okay. And not being in resistance to that. And realizing you can only let in what you're ready for. And so looking back at all of those different steps, that's what I was ready for along the way. And I was in the Abraham Hicks hot seat recently in November. And one of the things they really talked about a lot was let in what you're ready for. And don't hold out everything because, well, I want it all at once. Well, if you do that, you're holding off everything too. So let in what you're ready for and let it keep coming. Let it keep coming. Notice those breadcrumbs. And it's like they're golden nuggets along the way. And one of the stories that I love that Abraham tells about Jerry is when he's fly fishing and there's the stones in the stream and he couldn't see where the stones were, but he always knew there was going to be another stone. He'd take one step and he knew he'd find the next one and the next one, the next one. And that's kind of how it is in life. You just have to take the step and know that then there's going to be another one and another one. And so don't think that, oh, well, I did this thing and it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted, didn't get me to the end thing that I wanted. What may be the thing that you needed at that time to get to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And that's life. That's the process and the journey of life. It's always about the next thing and realizing it's not really an end goal. We're never going to get it done. There's always more expansion. And that is something too that I've really realized in the last couple of years, because I used to think, wow, I'm going through these major shifts. Once I get through this, I'll be done. I'll be done with these shifts. And I realize, no, not until I die, because there will always be more. And that's part of the magic of life too, is realizing there will always be more. And that's a good thing, because you can always have more awarenesses and more expansion. And that's kind of my journey and how I got to where I am. And again, these processes have made such a huge difference. And especially in the last year, going through the process with Gina and learning the malabrations, doing the process over and over with other practitioners has raised my vibration so much. And I feel so much better. And the thing is too, I think a misconception with the law of attraction is that you have to be giddy happy all the time or you're not in alignment. And that's just not true. If you want to have the range of emotions, and you don't want to attach to any one emotion, because if you're attached to always being up here, you're creating resistance by thinking you always need to be there. And everyone has a range of emotions. And I know for me, especially in the beginning, I wondered, well, is this just not going to work for me? Because I don't feel like I'm that giddy, happy person. I'm more reserved. Some people think that I'm really quiet. And the thing is, again, you don't have to be in that giddy state, but I can be happy and people still think like I'm really calm, because underneath I'm a calm person, but I can be up in the higher states of the emotional guidance scale. And it's just my nature. I'm still going to be calm. I'm going to be really happy. I might get excited and things. But you're not going to see me have the same kind of reaction as someone else. And that is okay. And again, I just want to stress that, because I think people have that misconception that if I'm not one of those over the top giddy people, that I must be doing something wrong. And you're not doing it wrong. You are who you are. And that is okay. It's more than okay. That it's really the goodness of you, and everyone is worthy just the way they are. It's not trying to be someone else. It's being your unique self and being true to who you are. And some of the other things, so the biggest manifestation for me through doing this work and these processes has been how I feel. I feel so much better, and really having this connection to my emotions. I can look back now and see how I really did stuff down my emotions. And I was more like this, but I was stuffing things down. Oh, I'm looking at someone saying, I noticed you being so calm. Yes, and that's the thing, like people outside. And I did seem like very calm, and I am a calm person, but underneath there was a lot of emotion that I just wasn't letting out, because I got so used to just pushing it down and numbing it away. And so this has been a process of allowing those emotions, feeling those emotions. And I wrote about this in an ebook that I did too. On the outside, it looked like everything in my life was all together, and I had the idyllic life. But on the inside, I was like, why don't I feel happier? Why am I not happy? And I've had a lot of clients too, that on the outside, everything's great. But on the inside, they're just not feeling it, and they're not happy, because they go through life thinking, I want the job, the career, the money, the marriage, the kids. Oh, I've got all these things, and now I'm not happy. What's wrong? And a lot of times it's because we don't even know what our emotions are, and we push them down. So then we look back and we're like, oh, I'm not happy. What's wrong? And it can even lead to anxiety and depression when you push down your emotions. And so that's one of the reasons why emotions are so important. And I really stress that to people, because I think also, again, in law of attraction, people think, oh, I don't want to have any negative emotions. I'm just going to push those away and only feel the good emotions. Well, no, that's not possible, because you need the range of all emotions to be able to feel. And another really important thing about emotions is that underneath the emotions, especially negative emotions, that's where your desire is. A lot of times there's a negative emotion because there's an unmet desire underneath. And if you don't allow that and get in tune with it, then you don't even know what your desires are. And that's what a lot of people that stop feeling too, they don't even know what they want. They're going along with what other people want, what society tells them they should want. And they're out of touch with their emotions and their desires. So it's really important for that. And another big outcome of all of this work has been accepting and loving myself more. And I know that sounds so cliche, of like loving yourself, but it is so true, because if you don't allow all of your emotions and accept them, you're not really accepting yourself. And if you're not really accepting yourself, your true self, you're not really loving yourself. And this process too makes such a big difference, because the more you accept and love yourself, the more you can accept and love other people. Because if you're judging yourself, you're judging other people and you're holding them away. And so when you have that acceptance, it really allows you to accept other people and accept them for who they are and where they are. And it really is a beautiful thing. It makes such a big difference. And as I mentioned, part of my process in all of this, and part of the reason why I was seeking at times so much, was trying to figure out relationships and why don't I have the relationship that I want. And now looking back, I can see how I was a perfectionist. I was judging myself. I was criticizing myself. And that's what I was doing to other people too. I held them to those same standards of perfection. I judged, I criticized, I wasn't accepting myself. I wasn't accepting other people. And that love for myself, I couldn't love other people either. You can only love another person to the degree that you love yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but it is so true. It's so much easier for me to be in a relationship now. And it's so much smoother and easier and more fun. And I've also had lots of great physical things. Like I used to get headaches all the time. I used to have dry, burning eyes, and I would get low energy late in the day. Through all of this, all of that's cleared up. I have great energy and feeling energy in my body. I know a lot of people that do this work start feeling more energy in their body. And that is a manifestation in itself too, is feeling energy. And it feels so good to feel that energy. I'm looking at Iena's comments here. I'm going to make it so I can see the comments. Okay, now I can see them. Yes. And another, the last thing that I've added to my process is, as I mentioned, I did inner child work with Marissa Peer when I was learning rapid transformational therapy and hypnosis. And working with Liz Hayes brought that back again, of working with the inner child and the inner being. And some of you that listen to Abraham Hicks may think, no, you can't go there. Well, looking at the inner child is really looking at the emotions where they are now. It's not looking at the past. It's looking at where are your emotions now, and being honest and authentic about those emotions. Because if you're not honest and authentic, you're just slapping a happy face sticker on it, and you're not doing yourself any good. So it's about being honest and authentic about those. And it's about the desires and preferences of your inner child, because that's where your desires and preferences are in the inner child. And there's a relationship of the inner child and the inner being. And this is something this last year that has really opened up for me. I'd listened to Abraham Hicks before, again, loved their stuff, heard about the inner being, understood it intellectually, but I was not practicing it or really embodying it or living it in my life. And that is something that I have really learned to do through working with Liz Hayes, is getting in tune with my inner being and having this relationship with my inner being, because your inner being is there to help you all the time. But you have to ask. Your inner being is just there, like kind of waiting, like, hi, I'm here waiting. I want to help you. Just let me know. So it's really having that relationship with my inner being has made a huge difference. And, playing this catch and release game between the inner child and inner being, having the preferences here and desires, passing them to the inner being, having that come back from the inner being. Oh, okay, I see that you sent me this. It's not quite what I want, and I'm going to pass it back. So that's a big part of the inner being. And that's been a huge difference for me this year. And Mark wrote a question: what are your thoughts on reincarnation? My thoughts on reincarnation is that we are infinite beings. And this is part of the thing. So your inner child is the earthly side of you. It's the part of you that has emotions and desires and preferences. And that's why we came here. And we need a physical body to live here. So that's the inner child. And the inner being is this infinite side of us. It's infinite, and it is source. We are source. And so the inner being is the part of you that never dies. This physical side is going to go away when you die, but this inner being side is going to, well, as Abraham says, transition or croak, and you're going to be in this blissful state again, back in source. So yes, I do believe in reincarnation, and that we are infinite. And that's part of the thing. We have this infinite intelligence that is our inner being, and it's our resource. So use it. If you're not having a relationship with your inner being, you have this resource of the universe and infinite intelligence that you're not using. So sync up with your inner being and get the power of source and the universe to work in your life. It makes life so much easier and so much more fun. And the other thing of the inner child and the inner being, this is the relationship of you and you. And this is about being a blended being. This is heaven and earth living as this blended being here on earth. And the separation that we live and not knowing that we have this inner being or not being connected to it really is what creates a lot of our yearning of looking outside for that love, for that validation, for that unconditional acceptance, when really that comes from your inner being. And it's about this relationship of you and you. And this is where that love and acceptance comes from. And when you have this, then all those other relationships on the outside become so much easier, because you're fulfilled here in the relationship of you and you, and everything else is gravy. It's like the cherry on top. And it's so much easier, satisfying, and fulfilling to have those relationships when you first are complete with this relationship of you and you. Okay. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yes, it did. Thanks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So yes, that's where I am now, and doing processes with clients is using the inner being and the inner child and recognizing those emotions with honesty and authenticity, and letting the movement of those emotions happen by that inner child and inner being process, and then calibrating the inner child through a calibration process up to the level of the inner being. And this calibration process is really an inward experience of noticing and sensing feelings in your body. And And that's the thing. Emotions are feelings. They manifest as a physical sensation in our body. So the more you tap into your body and feel those emotions, the better off you are. And the more in tune you are with those emotions, the easier it is to recognize those. Sometimes, and working with clients over time, sometimes clients, after a while, they start to feel something in their body before they recognize the emotion. And they're surprised because they haven't felt that for a long time. They're like, oh, I was feeling this in my body. And then I noticed the emotion, maybe it was like anger or rage. And they noticed like this red heat first. And then they're like, oh, that's anger or rage. And that's okay. That, again, that is a good thing because you just know you're getting more in tune with your emotions. You're really allowing yourself to feel them. And this process of calibration is, again, feeling these emotions from whatever wobble you're in, and then letting go of the story. And then we're moving up the scale, releasing resistance, releasing resistance, releasing resistance, releasing resistance. And then we're tuning to the high vibration emotions, or even if it's calm and ease, that helps step you up the ladder. Because if you're in fear, anger, despair, just stepping up to ease, and relaxation can be a big step. And then it's getting into sync with that inner being, and then allowing that to come through as the inner being. And then that's when you're getting your own messages. That's when you're in communication with your inner being. And that's not to say that's the only way you can be in communication with your inner being. There's lots of different ways. Through meditation, you can spontaneously get downloads from your inner being. Automatic writing is the way some people do it. There's lots of different ways, but this is a way that I work with clients, and the way I do it myself with other people is getting in that receiving mode and allowing my inner being to speak through me. So here's another question from Tiffany. How do you reverse fear quickly? i.e., you're meant for an executive position and you manifest an interview, but afterwards, little fear thoughts of being in the position pop in. So there's sort of a push-pull in thoughts while waiting to get the job and make the income. Because ultimately, I want the income and responsibility that comes with the position. Yeah. And it's good to be honest about those emotions, because it's like there's split energy. I want it, but that's where the fear comes in. I want it, but I'm afraid of these things. And so working with a coach to do calibrations, I feel like is the best way. It is by far the best method that I've had done on myself to release resistance, and working with this inner child and inner being. And if you're not working with a coach, you can when we had Gina come on the call, we did talk about self-calibration. And so you can take yourself through that process of really tuning into the fear, really feeling it. And then you can just keep changing things about it, change how it's moving, change the color of it, change the texture of it. And then just keep working yourself through that process, because again, you're releasing that resistance. And then you're coming up to that calibrated place and really focusing on. So if you had this job right now, how would you feel?
I would feel empowered.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel happy. I would feel like there's a freedom with the
Mhm.
additional income where I could actually help others,
Mhm.
with at ease,
Yes, ease. Yes, good. So yes, I would do that self-calibration. Well, and first you could even do a little like discharging of the emotions that you're feeling, and then doing that calibration, focusing on that fear, where you feel it, do it, and releasing the resistance, and then tuning to these emotions of empowered and happy and freedom. And there's a big difference, because I remember this early on too, of people being like, oh, just get happy. Well, like how does that really happen? Because if you're not practiced at that, if that's not something that you feel a lot, it might be like, oh, how does happy feel? But you can go through this process of tuning, and that we talked about last time, of tuning to, oh, how does happy feel? And you can call up a memory from some time when you were happy, or you can also just imagine something, imagine being happy, and really, again, tuning into your body, because it's the physical sensations. An emotion is a physical feeling. So the more you tune into that physical feeling, it's like embodying it in you, like, oh, that's what happy feels like in my body. And also, when you do that, your brain doesn't know whether you just got the job and you're feeling that happy, or that it's your imagination.
Mhm.
The same chemicals and hormones are being released, whether an outside circumstance actually happened or whether you imagined it. So it's like you're creating the muscle memory of those emotions. And your emotions also are what determine your vibrational frequency. So the more that you tune to those emotions of how you want to feel, the more it raises your vibration and frequency. So if you think about, this energy in your body, and then you have this bubble of energy around you, that's your vibration and frequency that's being sent out, that's what you're attracting. That's how you're attracting, is this vibration and frequency. And so it can't match up unless you're at that vibration and frequency of what you want. So it's like tuning up that vibration and frequency so you can attract that thing that you want. And again, it's the more you focus on feeling without an outcome, the better it is. Because again, the only reason we want something is because how we think it's going to make us feel. And so by focusing on the feeling, you can have the manifestation before it actually shows up in your physical reality. And that is the best thing. And that's what Abraham keeps preaching over and over. Like, you just want to have the feeling. That's the manifestation. And then you're feeling that freedom and empowered and happy. And then the job comes along and you're like, oh, great. Kind of forgot about it because I felt so good. And
Yeah,
that's the
thank you.
ultimate state to be in.
That's
Yeah.
actually what helped me to land the interview, because my momentum has been bubbly, happy.
Yeah.
And I've experienced this for the past 2 weeks. And so that momentum brings me in these interviews. So
Mhm.
now it's like, I have a choice. Like, is it you? Is it you? Is it you? I have all these choices.
Yes.
And while I'm at my regular, the current job I'm at now, I'm also exuding that vibration out
Yes.
to that job. So I did land a very good interview and position, well, not position yet, but will. Um, However, there's these little thoughts like, am I ready for it? I've been wanting this for years. That's the reason why I
Mhm.
went back for my master's, and I'm like, why am I getting these little thoughts coming in? Because I want to just keep that momentum of,
Yes. Yeah.
so yeah. But
Yeah. And
thank you.
notice how those,
Calibration does work.
yeah. And notice how those thoughts make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's probably not going to feel very good. So again, you can do the calibration on that feeling to release the resistance. And sometimes just, it depends how much momentum there is. Sometimes if you catch it early, just that awareness of like, oh, I'm having a thought that doesn't feel good. It's not serving me, and refocusing. And I have found for myself, the best thing that works again, too, on the refocusing is just asking myself, how do I want to feel? Not even like, what do I want to focus on? Like, what do I want to get, my intentions, but how do I want to feel?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a very, very basic, easy thing, because there should be no resistance other than, if you're really, you're in the momentum has got you like way down here. It's kind of hard to get up here. You need to like just take steps. But, if you're just starting to feel it, like, oh, I'm feeling a little wonky. But if you catch it early and just, how do I want to feel? Then there should be no resistance to just a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But there can be resistance when you like, no, but refocusing on, no, I want that job. I want the job. I want the job, because that can have some resistance around it. So just focus on the feeling.
How I want to feel right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, Elena, yes, said it. Maybe a calibration. Yes. And I thought we may do a calibration at the end, depending on the timing, to walk you through the process. So let's see if there's, yes. And Phyllis said, act as if it's done. Yes. And so being in those emotions is like acting like it's already done, because I've already manifested the feeling. Yeah, really good. Blocking out the ego helps manifest quicker. And I would agree with that somewhat, but you want to be careful with that, because blocking, just the word blocking has resistance in it. And you don't want to create any resistance. And again, you want to allow the movement of emotions, because when we're trying to just hang on to certain emotions and not allow anything else in, that is resistance in itself. So we want to keep refocusing on how we want to feel, but you need to allow those emotions. And that's the thing I always stress too. Like if you're having a negative emotion, just allow it first. And one of the best things you can do is like those, like you don't have to go through the whole calibration process, but even just those first few steps of, and if you can, closing your eyes and go inward and take some deep breaths and just asking yourself, what am I feeling now? Where is it? And just identifying those things. Is it heavy, light, or medium? Is it moving? What's it made out of? What's the color? And I've done this for myself, and just doing that, by the time I just do that, I'm like, oh, I think it released. And again, that's if you like catch it early. If not, you may need to go through the whole process, but identifying that and not, again, you don't want to just push it down because that creates resistance. All right. Does anyone else have questions or comments? I do have part of an Abraham clip that I'm going to play quickly, and then we can do a calibration. So I really like this clip. It's something that popped up in my YouTube feed. And I think it's really good about, they don't call it tuning to an emotion, but it really is tuning to emotions around money. Okay, so I'm going to cue this up and share this.
Find some way to feel it, because it must be annoying to you when we say, well, the emotion is the manifestation, so go get that emotion. And you say, well, I can no more go get the emotion than I can go get the $1 million right now, this red hot minute. And we say, well, you probably can't go get the $1 million within the next 10 minutes, but we know you can get the emotion. So what is the emotion that you're trying to create here? What emotion are you wanting to manifest? Use emotional words that are equivalent to abundance. Really focus on abundance. And abundance to me feels like confidence. It feels like ease. It feels like free. It feels like flow. It feels like freedom from bondage, flow as opposed to blockage. So you just want to keep massaging it and playing with it, because you can't play with those words and the variety of words that all sort of speak to it without beginning to evoke the feeling within you. Okay. In other words, you just can't. So as you identify the emotions that you're wanting to conjure or create, then you can feel it in by saying, I want to feel free and at ease. And now, in some cases, we might have said to you, well, can you think of a time when you felt free? Or can you think of a time? But sometimes it's harder to go there, because thinking of a time when you felt free is more specific than just finding the emotion. The emotion really is the first stage of the manifestation. And if you can get there, and you can, just by using productive words. So let's not leave this easily. Keep using abundant feeling words. Just keep reaching for them until you find some that really click in for you. Take each word and say.
Yeah, so I really like that clip because it talks so much about basically tuning to an emotion. Now, the one thing they talk more about words and tuning rather than, they don't involve as much of the physical process, but it is very similar about how do you want to feel? How's that thing going to make you feel? And that is a physical manifestation. Yes, and Iana just said negative emotions are also as valuable as any other emotion. Yes, because, and they are helping us, guiding us. Yes, absolutely. And if you don't allow them, then you don't have a guidance system. You're just like flying blind, and you don't, it's also like you need the contrast. It's like, if it was just sunny all the time, you wouldn't notice, like, but it's like the dark, it's like you need the dark and the light to have this full spectrum, to feel everything and to allow everything. And you can move through those negative emotions so much quicker when your vibration rises. But again, it's not like you're never going to have a negative emotion again. You're going to have the full range of emotions, and you want to have them. You want to allow them. And something, Michael Singer talked about this, and I really liked this. I think it's a really good explanation. He talks about when you block emotions, you create this like a physical block of your energy, and he calls it samskara. So if you think about your spine as the conduit for energy, and every time you block an emotion, you create this block there in your energy, and these are built up. And so if you block negative emotions, you're only feeling up to that level. And that's positive and negative. So on the vibrational scale, you're not going to go very high on the positive side either if you're blocking your negative emotions, because you can only feel up to this level. And I've experienced this. I can really tell the difference, because I know I had a lot of blocked emotions, and I just kind of felt like flatline a lot of times and wondered, like, everything's going well. Why am I not happier? And I think it was because I had these blocked emotions that only let me feel up to this certain level. So as you do this work, you're releasing these blocks, and where you go higher and higher and have the range of emotions. Now that means you're going to feel on the negative side too. But again, you're going to move through it much quicker. Yeah, so I really like that. And he talks about two physical sensations in the body. And during meditation, especially, you can have physical sensations in your body like twinges, and that's really energy releasing. And that's a really good thing. I had a client that was really concerned when I had her meditating every day, because she started to feel these things. And I explained to her, no, this is a great thing. This is a good thing, because you're releasing these blocks, and you're going to be able to feel more. And that can happen through meditation. Sometimes it can just happen throughout the day as you do more and more of this work. And that's the thing too. Things start to happen spontaneously when you do this work. On the last Abraham Hicks cruise in New Zealand, I woke up one morning and I could just feel all this stuff was falling off of me. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew I just shed layers and layers of old blocks, beliefs, whatever they were. I was just like, whoa, there was a big shift there. So it starts to happen spontaneously. Yeah. Okay, let me see if there's any more comments. Yes. Okay. So does someone want to volunteer for a calibration? And I'll include the whole thing of the inner child and inner being. Tiffany, do you want to release about
Sure,
Tom? Okay.
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay. And everyone gets benefit, even though Tiffany is receiving the calibration. Watching it and going along with her also is calibrating you. So, you may not have the emotions that come up in the beginning, but especially when we get to tuning to the higher emotions, it's really going to benefit you to tune into those emotions and how they feel for you. Okay, so I'm going to have you, during the process, I'll have you close your eyes, because it's an inward experience. And it's about like sensing and feeling. So I'll have you close your eyes. And Tiffany, what would you describe as the wobble and the emotions?
The idea of actually landing the position,
Mm-hmm.
and driving to work over a bridge, driving an hour to work over a bridge.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And also um, the dedication. So not having that easy 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, off
Mhm.
weekends, it's like I would have to put 100% into it. Of course, legally, I have the days off, but I would be going out of my comfort zone where I know I get my weekends and I'm done at 4. There's nothing else I need to do after 4 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, good. And what are the emotions that come up when you think those thoughts?
I feel like I'm going to lose out on something
Mm-hmm.
by not being off on those traditional days. Even though I don't do that much on those days.
Yeah. So if you're losing your time, is it also like
Yes.
losing your freedom?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Not having enough flexibility.
Yeah.
Um, there's a fear that I might not meet the expectation because everything would be new and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fear that maybe someone might not like my management style.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So I'm going to have you close your eyes and I'm going to start with this space of the inner child and the inner being. Because that's where the emotions really are with the inner child. So I'm going to have you close your eyes. And I want you to go inside. And I want you to picture this container in your chest, in your heart chakra. And this inner container is the space of your inner child and your inner being. And this space is only for your inner child, your inner being, no one else. And this is about the space for you and you and about the relationship of you and you. And I want you to first tune to your inner child, noticing how she's looking down, looking around outside of the container, looking at all of these conditions, looking at, I'm going to have to drive over a bridge. I'm going to have an hour drive one way. It's going to be lots of hours, lots of expectations of me. What if I don't live up to those expectations? What if people don't like me? What about all the hours that I'm going to have to work? What if I lose my freedom? Just noticing these emotions, looking at them openly and honestly, allows the movement of these emotions, allows them to unwind, to loosen that grip on those emotions and those thoughts. And then noticing your inner being, noticing your inner being, noticing your inner child. I see you and I hear you. It's okay that you're having these thoughts. It's okay that you're having these emotions. I love you unconditionally and I accept you unconditionally. Nothing has ever gone wrong in my life. I know the goodness of you. I know that you are worthy. And I am always here for you. And then, Tiffany, I want you to notice again your inner child. And I want you to notice that fear that she was feeling. And I want you to notice in your physical body where you're feeling that fear. And let me know where you're feeling that.
My right side of my leg.
Good.
Yeah, it feels very tense.
Yeah. And in the right side of your leg, does that feeling, is it heavy, light, or medium?
It's heavy and tight.
Good, good. And is it moving at all?
To the back of my right thigh, my quadricep.
Good, good. And is it moving? Is it vibrating or anything?
It's floating. It's like a slow move.
Good. Okay, good. And what does it feel like it's made out of?
Stone.
Stone. Yeah, good. Stone. And how big is that stone?
I want to say it's like a center block.
Like a cinder block? Yeah, good. And is it the color of a cinder block or is it some other color?
It would be the color, that gray.
Yeah, good, good. And so that cinder block, and is the cinder block moving? Or is it just in that thigh and back of the thigh?
Yeah, it's like just standing up vertically.
Yeah, good. Good. So now I want you to imagine that cinder block getting even bigger. And if that cinder block gets even bigger, does that feel worse, better, or the same?
It feels worse.
Good. Yeah, I thought so. So since you can imagine it getting bigger, now I want you to imagine that cinder block getting even smaller. And let it get smaller until that feels better. And let me know when you have that.
It's smaller.
Okay, good. And does that feel better?
It feels better. It's like it came out of my thigh and it's at my heel now.
Okay, good, good. And is it a small cinder block?
I would say it's a small ball.
A ball? Okay, good. And what color is that ball?
It's red.
Good, good. And now I want you to just keep focusing on the sensation and visuals. I'll hold on to any story behind it. And this red ball that's in your heel, do you want to transform this inside of your heel or pop it outside of your body?
I'd like to take it out of my heel.
Okay, good. So let's just pop it out. And so I want you to see that red ball in front of you, about 3 feet in front of you. And do you have that now?
Yes.
Good, good. And what color would feel better than this red?
Yellow.
Yellow, good, good. And I want you to see that ball changing all the way through from red to yellow. And does that feel better now?
Yes.
Good, good. And now that it's yellow, does it want to stay a ball or become something else?
It wants to stay a ball.
Good, good. And what do you want to do with this yellow ball? Do you want to bounce it or throw it?
I want to throw it.
Yeah, good, good. So see yourself throwing it. And what happens to the ball? Does it Does it come back? Does it just stay away?
It's almost like I threw it into space and
Mhm.
I don't even know where it went.
Yeah, good. So the ball's just gone. Good. And how does that feel now that the ball is gone? Does that feel better?
Yes.
Good, good. And what's the emotion that you feel now that that ball is gone?
Giggly.
Yeah, giggly. And is it like a happy giggly or joy, or is it like fun?
Yeah, it's like exciting, fun.
Yeah, good. So I want you to tune into that emotion of exciting. And I want you to tune into your body and notice physically, where do you feel that feeling of excitement?
I feel it coming from my heart.
Mm-hmm. Good. And is it moving at all in your heart?
I feel like it's moving between my cheeks and my heart.
Mm-hmm. Good, good. And what does it feel like it's made out of?
Cotton,
Mm-hmm. Good. Cotton. And what color is the cotton?
white.
Yeah, good. So notice that white cotton in your cheeks and in your heart. Notice that exciting feeling. And as you notice this and feel it, let this get even bigger. And do you notice it spreading to other parts of your body?
Yeah, I'm kind of losing my balance.
Yeah, yeah. Like you're having this giggly, exciting feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good, good. So really feel that giggly, exciting feeling that cotton inside. And as you feel this and notice this, what other emotion do you feel?
Joy.
Yeah, joy. And where do you feel joy in your body?
I would say right between the top of my lip and my forehead.
Yeah, yeah, good. And what's the sensation of it? Is there like a tingling or vibration? Is there any kind of movement with it?
Yeah, there's like a tingle in my upper lip.
Yeah, good. This tingling in your upper lip of joy. And does it feel like there's a material or texture there, like even glitter or stars?
It feels like air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This air.
Like
And
wind.
like wind, yeah. And is there a color associated with it?
No, there's no color.
Yeah, good. So I want you to really feel that joy, like it's wind on your lip, feeling that joy. And as you notice that and let that get even bigger, does that spread to other parts of your body?
I feel it in my stomach.
Mm-hmm. Good. And what is it the same some sensation in your stomach, or is it something else?
It's more like water.
Yeah. And is the water moving at all?
Yeah, it feels like a jug of water in my belly.
Mm-hmm. And it feels joyful.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good. So
I just want to
noticing,
start shaking it around,
yeah. So noticing that feeling like you want to shake it around, shake up that joy, let it spread, let it go out all through your body. feeling that wind on your lip, feeling so joyful and feeling so excited. And now, Tiffany, from this place, I want you now to call in your inner being. Are you ready for your inner being to come in?
Yes.
Good, good. So now I want you to picture your inner being as this ball of energy above your head. And then I want you to start breathing and exhale from your mouth. So as you do this, you can imagine this ball of energy coming through the crown of your head. And your mind can just step aside, taking a little break. And that exhaling from your mouth allows any thoughts just to go. And as that moves down your neck, maybe your chin even drops towards your chest. And then letting that ball of energy reside either in your heart space, your solar plexus, or your stomach, wherever it feels right for you. And let me know when you have that.
I have that.
Good, good. And so now I'm going to start speaking to your inner being and asking it questions. So Tiffany's inner being, are you here with us now?
Yes.
And do you love Tiffany?
Yes.
Are you always with her?
Yes.
Are you always guiding her?
Yes.
And are you guiding her in this job interview?
Yes.
And what would you like Tiffany to know about this job interview?
She deserves it.
Yes, she does. And what can Tiffany do when that fear starts to come up about the job?
She can say, I deserve this.
Yes, good. Good. And what about those doubts that come up about the drive, about the hours?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you going to be helping her through every step of this?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Good. And what else would you like Tiffany to know now?
She's capable.
Yeah. Yeah. And what can she do to connect with you, her inner being, more?
Quiet herself, quiet the space around her. Turn off everything, the television, the radio.
Yeah, good. Good. Really good. So I want to thank the inner being. And I'm going to invite your inner being back into this container in the center of your chest, this container of your inner child and your inner being. And noticing the two of them there, noticing this is you and you, the earthly part of you and the non-physical part of you. And noticing your inner child now, how she's feeling this excitement and joy, how she's standing up straight and proud, and how she's looking right at the inner being. She's focused on the inner being. And she knows that she is worthy of this job. And she knows that she can rely on her inner being. And then I want you to notice the inner being, noticing the inner child. I see you and I hear you. I know the goodness of you. I know the worthiness of you. I have no doubts. I have no doubts. I have no questions. There's so many ways for me to help you. There's so many ways that this can happen. And I'm always there. There is no right or wrong. And I'm leading you. When you ask, just tune in to me. I'm always here. I'm so proud of you. Always sending you love. And noticing the inner child, noticing this love, feeling this love from the inner being. And radiating this back. There's this mutuality of this love, of this acceptance, of this adoring between the inner child and the inner being. And feeling this energy syncing up between the inner child and the inner being. And this harmonizing. And I want you to take some deep breaths and really let that sink in and integrate. And then you can open your eyes. Yeah. How was
wow. Amazing.
Yeah. I love this process. I love this connecting to the inner being and honoring the inner child. It's really brings everything together.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Good. You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions or comments about the process or anything else? Iena, awesome process. Thank you. All right. Well, that is it for this evening. I really appreciate everyone for coming and Tiffany for volunteering to go through that process and getting even more of a flavor of what's possible. And we look forward also, Tiffany, to hearing how the interview goes, because we know that you've got this. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll post this video on our Facebook site. And I'll also post the audio of that Abraham Hicks that we listened to a little piece of it, because it's a really great audio. It's really good for tuning. And I also made a tuning after our last discussion. And I also wanted to let you know, I'm going to be doing a 4-part workshop that starts next week. It'll be on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And this workshop is about the inner child and the inner being, and having even more tools to incorporate the inner child and the inner being in your life, getting in tune with those emotions, getting in tune with your inner being so you can be more in that receiving mode, and having that relationship of the inner child and the inner being. And we'll also be doing some live group coaching during the sessions to calibrate those emotions and move up the vibrational scale. So it's going to be really fun, really interactive. That I'll be giving you homework in between. So you're going to be progressing through the 4 weeks. So by the end of the 4 weeks, you should really have a good shift and have some really good tools to use on your own. And I'll also be, as I do that, I'm going to move also into a group coaching program after that. So that will start after the Caribbean Abraham Hicks cruise, which is the 9th through the 18th, which I am signed up to go on. I'm so excited about this next cruise. So stay tuned for changes. I'll still be doing the free discussion group. I may be doing it maybe once a month and moving more towards the group coaching so that you can get more into the group coaching and actually using these processes instead of us just talking theory. So I want to thank you all so much for coming and have a wonderful evening. All right, bye.